80 days to election 2020 in December. Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Celebrating 25 years of fearless and impactful journalism, this bulletin is coming to you live from Joy 99.7 FM at Accra digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country, including ATL FM, Cape Coast Radio, Max, Takrady, and around the world at myjoyonline.com. Coming up, Accra High Court asserts its powers to punish offenders as Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejepong appears before it on contempt charges. We hear from lawyers for the outspoken MP.
We drew the court's attention to matters of jurisdiction. The court obliged us for further legal engagement, and the court so moto took an adjournment.
MPP's parliamentary candidate for Adentan constituency makes a strong case for re-election, citing unprecedented development, while the NDC's candidate and main opponent thinks otherwise as the two lock horns on the maiden edition of this year's Battleground on Joy FM.
Isn't it interesting that Yabwabin would claim that he tarred the road in front of my house, yet the road in front of his house is very untarred? Isn't that very interesting?
Because I'm not selfish.
Chiefs of Achim in Mosul in the Tuwa West municipality of the Eastern region petition IGP over persistent attacks by gunmen they say are terrorizing residents.
When three pickers full of arms, men, 42, entered Mr. Kofian Asmani's house and vandalized his property, beating up his wife and children, and wounded him with cutlass.
In sports,
we'll find out why former Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan is venturing into the sport of tennis.
Hans Mensando will be here with the sports, and celebrator disc jockey Billy Ocean plays on the Cosmopolitan Mix as guest DJ as Multimedia celebrates 25 years of broadcasting.
Well, I just say that in this industry, you don't quit when you still got your groove on. And fortunately for me, I still do it.
We'll bring you details. I'm Israel Layea. The news begins presently. A justice of the High Court, Amos Wooney, has served notice he will not hesitate to punish persons who scandalize the court. The remarks were made as he adjourned the contempt case involving Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejepong. The court had earlier said it was going to continue with the matter, but later decided to take an adjournment. Justice Wooney has ordered the MP to show up and explain why he should not be severely punished for comments he made about a judge, which the court deems disrespectful. Now, court correspondent Joseph Akabale joins us with details. Joseph, so explain to us how the entire episode panned out in court.
And so once the case was called, first lawyers for Mr. Ejepong informed the court that they had made an application at the Supreme Court. They are seeking to argue that the judge whose comments Mr. Ejepong made comments against which they deemed to be disrespectful is not this particular judge, and so they are asking the Supreme Court to stop this judge from hearing the case. And so they informed the judge that since that application is pending, it's important that he holds on with the proceedings. That application is to be heard at the Supreme Court on October 13, and so he should wait, and once they come back on October 13, if after the Supreme Court is able to deal with it, then they can now proceed or stop hearing the matter entirely. But the judge took the view that as far as he's concerned, nothing bars him from hearing the case because it's a request they are making to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has actually not granted the request yet, and so the case should proceed. At that point, Mr. Ejepong's lawyers, led by Kwame Jan, did indicate that they disagree with the judge's decision and that they wanted to argue on it, and they were proceeding to even make some additional arguments, but the judge took the view that they should come back on next week Friday and do their research and come with any additional legal arguments or material that they think could convince him to take a different position. I've been speaking to Afenyo Mark, and he's a member of Mr. Ejepong's legal team.
We drew the court's attention to matters of jurisdiction. The court obliged us for further legal engagement, and the court so moto took an adjournment so that we could further raise the issue. So that is where we are.
But is it normal practice in the sense that the court had stated that it was minded to continue, and later on it's now took the view that it's going to take a break and come back for further legal argument?
Law has no limitations. Once an officer of the court, in this case counsel, engages the court on a healthy exchange on matters of law. A judge minded to ensuring justice in a matter will do what my Lord has done. And we think my Lord has demonstrated that he always wants the law to reign supreme. So we have obliged the court, and that is the case.
So that's one of the lawyers for Central MP, Kennedy Japon. So the judge was indicating that, well, he has the courage to punish any offenders.
Yes, it was at a point that Kwame Jan, one of the lawyers, had made a point that they wanted the matter to be put on hold because if he proceeds and the court convicts Mr. Japon and proceeds to sentence him, and eventually the Supreme Court says it was wrong for the High Court to proceed, it would have meant that he would have served a jail term already. It was at that point that the judge made a comment that, he has the courage to punish any offender, and they should note that he's not just coming to punish him. The intention is to hear from him first whether he's able to justify why he made those comments and why he should not be punished for it. He again clarified that he holds nothing against any individual and that he respects the MP, he knows the MP, but this is a key matter that as a judge he has sworn an oath to listen and ensure that anyone who falls foul of the law is dealt with.
Thank you very much, Court Correspondent Joseph Akable.
Isn't it interesting that Yabuabin would claim that he tarred the road in front of my house, yet the road in front of his house is very untarred? Isn't that very interesting?
Because I'm not selfish. Why should I tar my road before I tar somebody?
There's one seat for grabs, but the MPP and NDC parliamentary candidates in the Adentan constituency are both confident they will be victorious in the December polls. Surely there will be joy and disappointment after the elections in December. The two lock-ons on the maiden edition of the Battleground here on Joy FM last night, hosted by MFA Apau. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has more.
Isn't it interesting that Yabuabin would claim that he tarred the road in front of my house, yet the road in front of his house is very untarred? Isn't that very interesting?
Because I'm not selfish. Why should I tar my road before I tar somebody else's road?
Okay,
that I have tarred his road speaks volumes that I'm not selfish. I am making sure that we spread development equitably and properly. I'm not here to develop myself beyond my constituents.
The people of my community
I'm not selfish.
What we need to do is that let's have a discourse based on truth. Let's have a discourse based on honesty. You see,
are you accusing me of being a liar?
I mean, if you're saying that you
are you accusing me of being a liar? Let's have a discourse based on honesty and truth. The opposite of truth is lying. The opposite of honesty is dishonesty. Are you accusing me of being a liar?
Which you know that it's not true, and you sit on radio and talk about it. Well, I'm not surprised. But you see, let's move on. We need to clearly distinguish between you find a way you're struggling to tell you a project that he had led.
Last night's show brought to listeners an in-depth analysis of the trends in the Adentan constituency.
The water situation has improved, but what I'll say about the people of Adenta is that a lot of them have learned to be self-sufficient.
They'll show you
by voting, okay.
There were the residents who rooted for the incumbent Yabuabin Asamoah.
Why be twasso? 4 more for Nana. And
those who strongly backed the NDC's Adamu Ramadan.
We prefer Ramadan, and he'll come.
Both men say they are cruising to victory.
I'm very, very confident that the people of Adenta within the past 3.5 years have noticed a gigantic difference compared to the 8 years the NDC were in power before.
He's saying that the understanding is that he should continue. I believe that this understanding only exists in his house. I mean, from the people you spoke to, it's very evident that people really desire change in this constituency. God willing, Mohammed Adam Ramadan is going to be the Member of Parliament for Adenta constituency.
Our analysts also had their say.
If you look historically, the cards are stacked against Babi Asamoah in terms of the pure history, what the history tells us.
The fact is that no MP has retained.
Exactly, no MP has retained.
Well, Lejakuku is the next stop for our battleground analysis next week.
Now on the campaign trail, NDC flag bearer John Mahama is continuing his tour of the Bono East region. Let's go live now and speak with correspondent Anas Sabit, who's traveling with the former president. Hello Anas, what's the former president been up to? All right, we do not have Anas Sabit. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7. We go now to Elting Brove, presidential correspondent. Elting, what's the president been up to?
Well, easy. I think that in the last few days, it's very quiet here. Remember that on Monday, the president led a consultative meeting on the political crisis in Mali. So this week, you know, in Accra, last night, he had a cabinet that went into the night. As I speak to you right now, he's receiving letters of credentials from some ambassadors posted to Ghana. We are talking about countries like Côte d'Ivoire, Sudan, as well as Italy and the Czech Republic. And after this program, he will move to have a courtesy call on him by the traditional rulers from the Doma traditional area in the Bono region. What handlers of the president are telling me is that the president is to start a full-blown political campaign for his re-election, even though sometimes it's difficult to strike a balance between government officials' duty and campaigning. But that is what they are telling me, that hopefully at the beginning of next month, we will undertake campaigns across the country to convince the people the reason why they should re-elect him for a second campaign. But this week, he's been all indoor work here at the Jubilee House. I'm sure that next week he may step out to Accra for other engagements. But this week, he's just working from the Jubilee House. And as I told you earlier, he's just meeting countries that have, submitted names of ambassadors to Ghana, and then later we'll meet with the traditional rulers of the Doma traditional area.
All right, thank you very much, presidential correspondent Elting Brove. The chiefs of Chim Moso in the Itiwa Met municipality of the Eastern region has petitioned the Inspector General of Police, James Opong Bueno, over persistent attacks by gunmen, they say, are terrorizing residents. They lament the activities of these gunmen have brought about fear and panic. The latest being the shooting in the abdomen of a resident. Eastern region correspondent Kofi Sian reports.
Addressing a press conference to drum home their grievances, Secretary to the Chief of Achim Moso, Berima Ofori Afam Chicheku, says there have been countless gun and machete attacks on residents. According to them, these gunmen continue to unleash terror on their community members, despite a declaration by a court of appeal affirming the legitimacy of Berima Ofori Afam as Chief of Achim Moso. What they say has aggravated the situation is a recent shooting led by one Ahinkan Boateng, Kofi Anoma, Kwesi Amwa, and Kwame Dankwa in the full glare of the public, where a resident of Achim Moso, Daniel Oche, was shot in the abdomen. They further explained that the chief, through his lawyers, has petitioned the IGP, Mr. James Opong Bueno, the Regional Police Command, and the BNI in the Eastern region, among other top security officials, but the perpetrators of the heinous crime have not been arrested.
There have been countless attacks on citizens of Emoso by Kofi Anoma, Ahinkan Boateng, Kwame Dankwa, Kwesi Amwa, Yanoma, and others. These persons, recruited thugs who are not residents of Achim Moso, came to cause mayhem and put fear and panic into the people of Achim Moso by hiding behind chieftaincy litigation. We enumerate some of the serious crimes committed by these people as below, where the law has never dealt with them. Sometime last year, 3rd June 2019, a group of people calling themselves Galamstop, led by Ahinkan Boateng, Kofi Anoma, and Robert Lamte, with 3 pickups full of arms, men, 42, entered Mr. Kofi Asmani's house at Achim Moso and vandalized his property, beating up his wife and children, and wounded him with cutlass.
The chiefs accused the Chebi Divisional Crime Officer, who is in charge of the case, for unprofessional conduct, stating that he failed to visit the crime scene, but rather went for a bench warrant to arrest the victim, who was shot by the gunmen.
Kofi Sian now joins us with more on this. Oh, hello, Kofi. So we heard the chiefs indicate or mention some names. Are these the gunmen terrorizing the residents, or are there actually more?
Well, these are the people the chiefs claim are behind this incidents happening in Mosul, they say that they've been able to identify about 4 of these people, and they've reported the case to the police, but they are yet to make any arrest.
Now, they've actually accused some of the police officers in the area as well. What's been the response?
Well, the police are yet to respond to some of these claims or allegations. We've tried reaching the Chebi Divisional Command, the police command that the chiefs are accusing of, supporting this tax, but we've not been able to hear anything from them.
All right, thank you very much. That's our Eastern Region correspondent Kofi with that update. Now, low turnout at various centers as the Electoral Commission begins the exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register today. The exercise, which will continue for the next 8 days, is taking place simultaneously across all 33,367 centers nationwide from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, including Saturday and Sunday. The visit to some exhibition centers here in Accra revealed little activity with low turnout of registered persons seeking to verify their details. At the Youngsters Center, EC officials tell Joy News just 9 out of 684 people have verified 4 hours into the exercise.
Okay, so I mean, what is the progress that you're having here?
No, not much. The people are now. We are expecting the people to come and check their names on the provisional register. But as of now, we are having about 9 people who have checked.
9 people. That is for your polling center or for
both?
For both of the polling centers.
The 2 polling stations. We have 9 people as of now.
Out of how many?
Out of 684. Yeah. So, but we are hoping for them to come and check. But for the exceptional, the multiple list, we have, for my center, I have only 1 person who have done multiple registration. So we are hoping if the person will come and object to the name, his name, which has appeared on the multiple list.
You heard Manuel Cranton speaking there with some EC officials. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, says about 40% of patients receiving care in health facilities in Ghana contracted infections whilst visiting for minor ailment. He made the revelation at a ceremony to mark World Patient Safety Day in Accra. Hanodame has more in this report.
The doctors and nurses are very caring. They are so careful when examining us, and I am very satisfied with their work. But according to the Ghana Health Service, some patients do not receive this kind of care and actually go home with more infections than they got to the health centers. Director General of the service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, has been explaining why at the conference.
Unsafe care occurs in the form of hospital-acquired infections, unsafe surgeries, wrong medication, transfusions or infusions, among others.
Dr. Kumabwaje wants all managers of health facilities to adhere to the guidelines outlined by the Ministry of Health to ensure that there is reduction of risk, errors, and harm in providing health care.
Incident reporting guidelines are there. Infection prevention and control policies guidelines are there. The National WASH technical guidelines, the Patient Charter of 2002 guidelines for the implementation of the National Healthcare Quality Strategy are among some of the many guiding documents that we're using to improve patient safety.
Africa World Airlines says it will in the next week lay out details of its plan to operate commercial flights to and from the whole airport. The move comes a week after Aviation Minister Kofi Adda lamented before Parliament's Public Accounts Committee that there is no hope for the airport.
It's so difficult for you to negotiate with the commercial airlines. The sad bit of it is that my own good friend, who's the overlord of Asogli, is a shareholder of Africa World, and we've talked to him to try and consider how they can also be going there. The same with Passion Air, good friend Ebra Danan, to see how, as a shareholder, you can also consider the airline going there.
The Chief Safety Officer of Africa World Airline, Captain Kwesi Obing, toured the airport earlier today, and he says the airport has met all required safety standards.
The reason
we are not flying here at the moment is very simple. Since the completion of the airport, the company has not been officially informed that it's commercially available for operation. By procedure, the contractor would normally hand over the airport to the government. The government would then go through its processes to alert the local carriers as to the operating hours, facilities available both in navigation, passenger handling, and all those things.
Assistant Aviation Security Officer of the Ghana Airport, Lucy Ajohonu, says the airport has already been receiving non-commercial flights.
We do receive visit flights. Flights come to visit. Like I said, the ambassador of America last time they came here. The CTQ people, the aircraft, the CTQ people, they come. The airport people also use it all the time. So I would say it's ready to operate. Yes.
It's operational.
Very, very operational. As you see the sound, security, everything is in order.
Well, Ivy Setoji is at the airport right now and she joins us on phone. Ivy, what are some of the facilities they've shown to you to demonstrate the airport's readiness to receive flights?
Good afternoon, Israel. So there is a runway which is ready. Security screening points has been faced with the archway, metal detector, and the X-ray machine. Faced check-in counters for airlines are also in place. Chairs are arranged at the departure waiting area. There is also the control tower that everything is set in there. The CCTV cameras covering the airport is also there to ensure maximum and extra security and the safety of passengers. So, everything is ready according to the management for the airport to be fully operational, Israel.
Thank you very much, Ivy Setoji. You're still listening to the Midday News. We're taking a break, but still ahead we bring you sports and then celebrated disc jockey Billy Ocean plays on the Cosmopolitan Mix as guest DJ as Multimedia celebrates 25 years of broadcasting.
Well, I just say that in this industry, you don't quit when you still got your groove on. And fortunately for me, I still do it.
It's time now for sports and Hans Mensah Ando is here. Hello, Hans.
Hi, Izzy. And former Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan has a newfound love, tennis. While Baby Jet has no intentions of playing professionally, his foundation is helping the growth of the sport by supporting budding talent. GFA Executive Council member Samuel Inimadu speaks for the Asamoah Gyan Foundation.
We've done it with boxing. We brought a world title fight to Ghana. We've done it in other areas, youth development. We did something. Asamoah Gyan Foundation did youth sports jamboree, and then Baby Jet and assisting. So we shouldn't be surprised. This is our passion. This is our calling, and we are now ventured into tennis. Expect more, and there's going to be another tournament very soon. There's a young girl we've seen, Ekia, we'll be supporting her, and other girls, maybe Magdan's daughter, Super. There's another girl, Mariama. There's young boys out there too. The boy who won, Johnson, and the other young boys out there. We'll be supporting all of them if all things being equal with the plans that we have.
Samuel Inimadu, who speaks for the Asamoah Gyan Foundation, and we're building up to a weekend of Premier League action on Sunday, of course. Live commentary on Joy 99.7 FM. Chelsea up against Liverpool. Big one early in the season, is he?
Who's your bet on?
None of them, but I wish Chelsea lose.
Why so?
Well, I just wish Chelsea lose. I mean,
really?
Okay, so I want Liverpool to win. If they draw, the better.
All right, thank you very much, Hans and with the sports. The Bolgatanga-Baku Road is now open to traffic after a portion of it was washed away by the recent floods in the Upper East region. A 20-meter ditch which was created on the road at Kobore in the Baku West district prevented commuters from crossing over to the Baku areas towards the capital, Bolgatanga, and vice versa. Drivers say they are now relieved to be able to use the road again. Here are some of them.
Now we are very happy that they fixed it. Our cars can now pass, we can now do our business, and everything is all right for us now. We thank the Almighty God. Everything is going on well now.
It is good now. We are feeling happy because when the road was washed off, we don't know what to do. We, the passengers and the drivers, we are all suffering from that other road. Even if you load and go, the moment you come back, all the money you get, maintenance, they will take the money again. So you get nothing. So we are happy for the contractors.
Well, the Super Morning Show today launched an appeal to support those affected. Here are some of those who called into the show.
I'm from the north. To seek work has brought me to Asantemanto. So if I'm to give something, I'm helping my brothers and sisters and helping Ghana. I'll give my widow's mite of 100 Ghana. I was asking if clothing would do.
Absolutely.
Then now I'll top up with my widow's mite.
You're very kind.
Contestants and students of the Bishop Herman College say they are ready to face any opponents, including the arch rivals, Maoli School, as they progress to the 1/8 stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. They beat Anglo SHS and Bueman SHS to qualify. Headmaster of the school, Kofi Kodolo, says the school's performance this year is reflective of intense preparations ahead of the 2020 NSMQ.
I've gone into the preparations because we want the Sherman to come into the group of winners. Okay. And so we are putting more preparation than we did before. And so we are hoping that this time around the school will go far. Okay. We are supporting all the contestants in the best possible way that we can, and we hope with God on our side we can win.
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Mr. Francis Dominic Kofi Kudolo.
Okay.
Headmaster of Sherman College.
Maxwell Agbagba is at the event and joins me. Maxwell, tell me how it all went down in the Volta region.
Well, Israel, Maoli School, Sunrise SHS, Ola Girls SHS, who have all qualified from yesterday's contest to the 1/8 stage of the competition, which will be in Accra. Well, joining them on the final day already is Bishop Herman College. Ongoing now, though, at the end of round 2 for the day 2 contest, we have Akachi SHS taking the lead with 12 points, St. Mary's SHS Lulubi with 0 points, and then Zion College with 1 point.
Maxwell Agwagwa there. That's time for entertainment. And Becky is here. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you, Easy. If you listen to the Cosmopolitan Mix on Joy FM on Thursday, you would have heard this. That was celebrated Joy FM disc jockey Billy Ocean, who joined the Queen of the Airways, Doreen Ando, on the show. But it's been almost 3 decades behind the console. What's been his drive? He spoke to Joy News.
Well, I just say that in this industry, you don't quit when you still got your groove on. And fortunately for me, I still do it. So it's not like I've gotten tired of it. I only get tired when I'm able to identify that the youngsters are doing much, much better. Then I can hang my coat and say, okay, they are doing pretty well and I cannot cope with them. But I've still got my groove on, so I need to go on. Even whilst playing at Joy FM, almost all the songs I was playing are all videos. It's simply because at a point, yes, I realized that you need to upgrade. And in fact, I'm not afraid to say I'm one of the first people to start video mixing in Africa.
That was DJ Billy Ocean. Easy.
All right, thank you very much, Becky Vex, with entertainment. And Sarah is here with what's coming up in business.
Well, later in business, government misses its target for the 3-year bond issuance, but accepts all bids to the tune of 823 million cedis. We'll bring you the details later.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And that'll be it for the bulletin. Before we go to a quick look at our top story, Accra High Court asserts its powers to punish offenders as the Central MP Kennedy Japan appears before it on contempt charges. That's it for the bulletin. Israel Layea. Up next, Pastor Mensa Otabil comes up with Living Word on the topic, What is Running After You? Part 2. It is right after these commercials.
Look at you, the big boss.
You know they hear.
You know they fear who?
Until somebody says, I will tell your mother.
That's why we say wear a mask or else.
We will